So yeah, sorry about last night. I did have a little bit of an issue. I'm sorry that I just left it up. I didn't mean to do that. But I did finish the book. Oh yes, I did. I finished Hotshot. I've read Piggy. I have In Too Deep. I just can't really get through that one. I think this is Michael Thompson's best book. I do, as far as writing goes. Uh, Now we're going to talk about the book, and then we're going to talk about what does the book mean, or what is being said here, what are the messages, and it does. There are conflicting messages being given, and there's some real. There's like moments of like beauty actually in this book, and then what I feel like happens is that the impulse of wanting to hurt somebody becomes kind of overwhelming with the prose. It's sort of like, but I know this person, and I know they're. I know this person, so that it changes. Well, I mean, to be quite honest, I've worked with plenty of writers, and knowing them has not necessarily informed my reading in the way that maybe this experience was formed. So, just to preface this review, I am suing Mr. Thompson for conduct that is, I believe, iterated in this book. Where's it? I did mark some notes. So I don't know if I wanted to start. I wanted to start with the book. Forget the reality. Forget any of the inspirations. So we can just talk about the book. The writing and the formatting is done well. It seems more thorough. I can see that he's taken some stylistic techniques from Bret Easton Ellis, and then I can see definitely a singular style. Has a voice. There's a voice here. It's a bit crude. It's gross. I mean, it's gross at times. It's positively gross. That's the one thing. That's the one thing of the book that I really tired of towards the end, was just the constant, like, there's a lot of drug use, a lot of intravenous, it's a lot of methamphetamine use. GHB is common in it. A lot of gay orgies, sort of, or at least situational sexuality. Let's see. There is this moment in the book that happens, like, I think about a third of the way in, where we don't hear that crude, crass Tyler. Tyler is the name of the protagonist. There's a moment in the where does it start? I think it's a chapter actually that it starts at, but it's sort of like a look. It's hard to talk about this book because I believe it may have been inspired by events. I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I wasn't there when it was being written. I don't know when he wrote it. It's interesting. It's an interesting book. That would be more interesting without the real life insights, I think. but so there's two locations basically, and there's just Lumiere, and then there's Asheville, or like I think it's called Asheville, Ashford, something like that. I thought of like North Carolina, but like I think uh, what he's saying here is heaven and hell. We're basically talking about, like a higher and a lower, and hell is referenced a lot in this book. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of characters, kind of. It's kind of convoluted. Tyler's world. It kind of it. Sometimes I wasn't sure exactly who was who to who. Like he has a husband in the book, but has a boyfriend in the book, and then he has. Is it just that? And then he has this. I don't actually know there's a character Adrian. Now, I mean, like I said, I'm starting off this review without even specifying, any of what I will get to what I think the meanings of the text are. I mean, the book's biggest problem is just the incessant crudeness. That might be some people's thing. It's incessantly crude and cruel towards the narrator. It's towards himself, or it's actually unrealistic. It lacks humanity, and I'm not saying it's not well written, but it does lack sort of what humaneness, and that could, it does. It could have been. I think it could have been reduced. Now it's a nice tool at times, but when the incessance of it was a bit much. Like I don't see why so many gross moments were needed. Personally, I don't know why those were all necessary, but maybe he's trying to build, a case against Tyler. He's trying to say, like, Tyler, stop blaming others, like stop blaming so Tyler is, well, he's actually, I mean, if you ask yourself, is he self-aware? Is Tyler in this book self-aware? And the answer is yes, because he's never really so given to this Adrian character that he doesn't really ever meet, save for I'll let you read it yourself, but he questions a lot. He questions everything. He doesn't really like have one opinion of anything. He doesn't know. He knows he doesn't know, and the book's tone is suggests that it believes that he's really a bad person, or I mean, well, it's consistent. Look, I know this person. I'm suing this person. It's a bit consistent with this person's mode of attack, but then there is this section of, like, it felt like honesty to me, to be quite honest, and it was the most beautiful section in the book. It does describe a character that may or may not be reflective of me, or which is Tyler. I suspect it's possible that some of Tyler is Todd, because, well, and we'll get into that. But there's a passage. I don't know if I'm allowed to read it or not, to be quite honest. But like, there's like, so did you look for a job today? You planning to do any work, or just kind of clog toilets and smoke crack all day? This is the type of thing that we hear constantly in this book, to the point where it's just tiresome, and it's just sort of like it just doesn't. It's excessive. I think stylistically, it's sort of like, okay, we get it. We get it. So could be that the author has an axe to grind. It could be. There's the invocation of a lot of, like, pop songs and stuff. There's magic is involved, black magic and heaven and hell, and I'm not going to give away the ending, but one is left wondering what is being said. What is this book? What is the meaning? Um, I would argue, just having read it over the past couple days, the meaning is that sometimes our harshest critics and bullies are assets to us, that they're actually helping us. So there's this thing called a miracle pan. Pan in Spanish means bread. Miracle, money, basically, is what I took it to mean, to be quite honest. And there's also, there's a lot of things that are coded like that. I don't know that for a fact that that's what it was, but it's you. Ultimately, you're left wondering, what is this? Does the author? I don't know. Is the author excusing bad behavior, or is he just saying a truth, which is a universal truth, that the darkness stirs the light, and that there's a reason for it. I don't know. It's so cruel. I don't know. I don't necessarily it's true. That's true. Your trials and tribulations will make you stronger. They will. They'll enlighten you on some level. But what does that mean? What is the process of becoming enlightened through a trial or tribulation or a problem? It's solving it, and so in this case, we have somebody who's like a demon type figure. Adrian is what he's called. I figured it may be a reference to Adderall. I don't know, or if it was just like there's a fallen angel, like maybe Azazel, if that had anything like that, or if it was just a name to use. I know Tyler is Michael Thompson's. He's publishes under Tyler AD, so. He has a last name in this book. I forget what it is. Tyler Dershowitz, I think. So it's he's obviously invoking Fight Club. There's a lot of drug use in this book. A lot, like a lot. And I personally, I find the theory of the narrative keeps calling Tyler worthless, and it's sort of like, no, he's not worthless. No, that's not, no, nobody is. Nobody's worthless. Nobody deserves to be treated like they're worthless. They're not. They're just not. But and what does Tyler end up getting? Nothing. He gets nothing. He goes. He dies. Sorry to give away the ending, but he does die from a hotshot. I believe it's a hotshot. This all takes place in 2016, I believe, in a motel, or a series thereof, a series of motels. But so I'll tell you the ending. Why not? You should read it. You guys should read it. It's a good book. It's a good book. The person that wrote it isn't. I think there's problems, but look, I can separate the artist from the art. But I also think that there's way too much cruelty, to the point where it's really you might not want to subject yourself to that type of energy. It's dark. It's mean, and Um, it's a I don't know when I should start talking about the relationship to the real situation. I guess now would be a good time. So I would say that this is not something that was done in a day. I'm sure it took Mr. Thompson, or Mr. D, as it were. I'm sure it took him like a month or two, maybe three, maybe 2 months to really. And I'm sure it was looked over, and I believe that I believe that it wasn't like a haphazard attempt. That there was some diligence that was put in there. I believe I do, because it does have its a flow. It's not. There's not a lot. There's like one typo I think that I found in it, or it's like missing word, which is good for a self-published book. Um, I didn't know what hotshot meant. Actually, I didn't know that this was a term. Hotshot is a term for, uh, like when you are doing intravenous drug use and you take, I guess, too much and you die. That's what a hot shot is. But a hot shot is also like somebody who thinks they're awesome, right? It's like, oh, you're such a hot shot, and which I don't. It's not really. I mean, look, we don't really see much of Tyler's perspective other than his worry and concern about others. He's generally in a state of panic. It seems like, um, uh, and uncertainty, and just doesn't have any and also it does seem that is making it hard for him to connect to people, and that he's if you I mean on some level there's really no explanation really, like this relationship that they have between Adrian but so let's just get into how I'll take questions at the end, I suppose, if you're not like a stalker or harasser. Um, okay, so there is StreamTube is a YouTube. I believe is a euphemism for YouTube that is featured in this, and there's also a lot of so Adrian is in Tyler's head. If you have been a part of the cyber stalking, whatever, and you've said, "I'm not Michael," and you've heard me say, is that you, Michael?" And then you've kind of made fun of me. Well, that's what is being done to Tyler throughout this entire book. He's basically being told, like, you blame everyone and no one did anything, which, I mean, is not true. That it does not reflect reality. Whether or not Adrian or Tyler AD, I don't know, but I don't know what it's based on. I'm just guessing. There's a mention of the pale green walls in the motel. There's also there's one part where he mentions a song title of mine that in a phrase that is not commonly used. I have a song called "Getting Gone." Okay, so it's like a country EDM song, and there's that phrase is used, and I remember thinking like, that's like I don't generally see. I did mark it, but I think it may have fallen out. I like, especially the violent. Like, there's parts of violence like were so unnecessary that I just feel like as a writer, I think that Thompson or D or whatever he calls himself would benefit from a little bit of restraint. Um, he's still a good writer, though. I'm not going to deny that. Capable, most certainly. Uh, okay, there is. Okay, so if we're going to talk about the real situation, there's a passage here. He's with Seb. I think no, is it Seb? Yeah, Seb. Sebastian, his like I guess boyfriend. He has a husband too named Tom. Um, and Seb says, "Do you know how to deal with enemies?" And he says, and Tyler says, "How, baby?" And then Seb says, "You ruin their reputation. You drag their name through the dirt and tell everyone in town what a piece of shit they are. What an untrustworthy, lying dog they are. You let everyone know they're filth, so the guy pumping their gas knows just as much as their landlord and their landlord and their best friends and their best friends. You tell everyone everything." Now, he also mentions that Seb was a DJ, and that he did house music. I was thinking, what is a dumb junkie? If you think about DJ in this book, DJ could easily be for dumb junkie, and then house music could be potentially. I'm not saying it is. Could be interpreted as the music I play in my house that gets commented on. House music, right? Because there's like 5 rules to house music, and they don't really make any sense when you're talking about house music, which is a style of like electronica. There's a line that says, "He'd engineered it so perfectly that I could never even call them out for it without looking crazy. That was all part of his design." Well, that's also something that Michael Thompson iterates in a video called was it Gay Shamans and How to Be a Gang Stalker. He basically describes a very similar set of circumstances, which I find highly likely to be related. Oh, here it is on page. Yeah, it says, I was getting gone for good." Tyler says in like a narrative, "I was getting gone for good." Now, think about that. I was getting gone for good. I don't think I've ever read that phrasing, that line. That it's completely it's sort of it to me it's probably an allusion to my song "Getting Gone." It could, but I mean, I'm almost certain that it is, because why would he write, I was getting gone for good? Unless, it's a coincidence, I suppose. But let's see. There is this chapter, and there's this passage about. Now, I at the time of I suppose of March to June or July, towards even December, had blonde hair. But and there's this one chapter where the narrative goes from the crudeness to almost like apologetic. It's almost like an apology. It's a big shift, and I liked the shift. I liked that it shifted there, but then it just goes back, and then it doesn't, and then you just get a excessive amount of the crudeness again. The most interesting parts are the humaneness, and which is not in much of it. I mean, Tyler doesn't seem to have like a lot of empathy for himself, even, but that's because, is Tyler really the narrator, or is Adrian, who's his counterpart? You might argue that it's Adrian that's actually telling the book, because it's so cruel. It's just so cruel that I don't know, but here's the passage. He says, "When he first contacted me, I could have never guessed what he was going to do to my life. He told me from our very first conversation that he had the power to destroy me or save me, and I thought he was joking. To me, he was a kook, a narcissist who people lavished attention and gifts upon because of his magnificent beauty. His hair was a silken, dirty blonde, his features feminine and boyish, at the same time with remarkable blue eyes that I would find myself staring into while looking at his photographs. He looked like a supermodel. I had no understanding of why someone so beautiful would be showing such intense interest in me. So I met him initially with skepticism. Now, when I read that, I felt that we were no longer in Todd Tyler, but we were in Tyler AD, or the writer Tyler. And honestly, it was weird to read because I mean, look, I had blonde hair and I do have remarkable blue eyes. I've been told that all my life. But it's short-lived. Look, he says that it's short-lived. He told me within the first few conversations that he'd loved me before we ever met. It's possible that I do love people, and I do, and it's possible that I did say something like that, but it wasn't. It wasn't romantic. It was humane. But then, it says, my primary hobby at the time was to create StreamTube videos exposing, in quotes, people that I thought were scammers or degenerates for whatever reason. Now, look, you can. That's actually, you could argue that he's talking about, if you're going to argue that it's based on the events of 2021 between where Michael Thompson created this Hollywood Laughingstock channel and a group was running it, you could argue that that's either Todd or Michael, right? You could, because Michael's whole thing is what he exposes. I mean, to be honest, it's probably that, honestly, and this is my true opinion, is that the writer is such a sick, narcissistic psychopath that he can't do anything but try to vindicate himself at every turn. And it never does it. He never vindicates himself. The writer, not the character. The character really hasn't done much wrong. He hasn't. He's being told that what he's doing is wrong. Now, if it was somehow me, that was Tyler Dershowitz or whatever in this book, in inspiration, I had never shot methamphetamine. I didn't know about the cough. I've done it. I mean, I told you guys. I've told my audience that I have ADHD. I have only done it in generally small amounts. I'm sure I've overdone it, and I have had orgies where meth was involved. I admit that, and I'm not trying to hide that. I also noticed that GHB is brought up a lot, and in my book, which I am guessing was written prior to this, and then I almost feel like this is a response to my book, to be quite honest, in which Michael Thompson does not exist. There is no Michael Thompson in my book. He's not even referenced. He's not. I think maybe he is iterated in one anecdote, and that's it. There's no character named after him, or none of the characters are him. I intentionally left it out. I disagree with the whole perspective, to be honest. I don't find people that do drugs to be amoral or immoral or disgusting, or I don't find them to be worthy targets of abuse. I actually, I think that's an absurd notion, and I don't know what kind of, but some people have different tastes. I think towards humane perspective in literature. It's well written. It's a bit gross, excessive, demeaning. I mean, if it is based off of what my life, um, it can't be entirely, because there's no Brett doesn't exist in this book, and there's no there is a high tower, a high like a but there's Roger in it, and I wondered, does that have to do anything with Roger Avery, or is Seb Brett somehow? Or I wondered. I never was able to determine that. Honestly, it might just be that none of these people exist, and that he's just doing it because there's this indication that Adrian's not doing it. It's Tyler. Tyler is Adrian, basically. Like Tyler's voice and Adrian's voice are one. Adrian makes that clear, which I don't think that reflects the events. I think that the writer would like to think that it does, but I don't. I think there's a little bit of a distinction, but it's. I don't think I will. I don't think I'm going to continue to read this person's books past the trial. I just wanted to sort of make sure I had all the info. But that said, I think a lot of people would like this book, and I don't know if I would recommend it because of the grossness. If you like that, if you like really crass. It's sociopathic. It is. It's malicious. It's malicious. The tone is malicious. Katy Perry is like mentioned a lot, like 3 times, I think. Like songs are mentioned that are playing. An 808. I wondered about that. He talks about an 808, which is like a drum machine. And I wondered, why would he bring up 808 at this juncture? Like it almost made no sense. It actually doesn't make sense, because there's no I don't think Tyler is even a musician in this, to be quite honest. I don't think he's, or I mean, maybe a couple times he is, but he's he's not lauded for it. Yeah, I mean, definitely. You could argue that the house music section is sort of like, everyone's a kind of a creep to him, and he sort of indicated the narrative sort of assumes he's paranoid, I guess. I mean, personally, I think Michael Thompson is a sociopath, and whether or not that ultimately is good for society, because I think I'm likely to prevail in this lawsuit, which will ideally set a precedent that will make YouTube a better place. And whether or not that sociopathy is sort of like part of the journey towards the light, as it were. Look, if it is, it still has to be addressed. Like that's part of it. That's part of why it's the journey to the light, is because of the addressing of it. Now, I think this narrator would have it so that that Tyler were to like admit he was wrong or something like that. But in reality, if any of my deductions are correct, which they might not be, because it is not obvious. It's not obvious at times. Like, it's not subtle, but it's also not the most. It takes place in 2016. I know that in my book, I talk about doing GHB in 2016, and it does seem to really harp on this idea of doing GHB, which I mean, is not a drug I've ever bought. I don't think I've ever purchased GHB. I don't think I purchased meth, I think one time. I think I've purchased meth one time in my life. Uh, and this character is completely just. I mean, he can't stop. He's just is he smoking it all the time? I wasn't even sure if how many times he had shot it up. I'm pretty sure it was hard to keep track because there's so much of it. It's just and it's gross. It's gross. I mean, I don't particularly like being grossed out like that. Personal thoughts. This book does not indicate what happened. It doesn't indicate metaphorically or euphemistically what Mr. Thompson actually did. He's a criminal. Mr. Thompson is a criminal, a serial criminal. Okay, he's a serial criminal. He's a serial stalker, harasser who I really pray is addressed. I pray. I do. He's dangerous. He's malicious. He breaks a lot of the YouTube's violations. And he's mean. He's just mean. And I don't. So when even he's a somewhat talented writer. So are these authentic moments? I was finally asking, are these authentic? Which there's just few. There's like one. There's like one pivotal one, and you're just like, was I just being played? Yes. I mean, I have to. I have to use my brain on this, and this is a complete piece of crap. A bad person wrote this book. I mean, a dark person rather. Now, does that darkness help? I don't know. Even if it does, the darkness still has to pay the price for being dark, for doing its ill deeds. Otherwise, there is no elevation of anything. And maybe that means we should be thanking villains, but that doesn't mean we should not be persecuting or litigating them, for sure. I think it was an ill-advised move for Mr. Thompson to write this book and release it because of the parallels that are obvious. I don't think he should stop writing. I wish that he. Look, he's his own writer. I can separate. I don't get to tell people how to write or what to write. I don't even tell. I never tell people that do workshops with me what they should write or even how they should write it. But I do firmly sort of suggest. If I were to I would say really explore this humanity. This, and you can go back and forth, but it never goes back again. It does it once, and then it kind of alludes to it at the end, and then in between it's all crude, black, dark, evil, creepy, disgusting, very disgusting, just like nauseating. I found myself nauseated at points. Mr. Thompson is a pathological liar. If this book is intended to, obviously it's fiction. It's fiction, which means he has domain. He has license to write what he wants. I can't sue him for this book, and I don't intend to. But it also shows a willfulness of thought, forethought. Knowledge thereof. I would never think about destroying someone's reputation like that. It just wouldn't come to me, but it does to Mr. Thompson. I found myself not knowing who Tom was. Is Tom Greg? I don't know. Another defendant. Ultimately, there's no getting past the fact that Mr. Thompson is in utter denial. that he has a serious, I would call tenuous the right word, like not a very firm grasp on what the truth of what happened was. I believe that he willful actually, or he has a very firm grasp, and he willfully did something that he's now really trying to deny, which he always does. He does that. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he studied psychological abuse tactics. I really wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked if he didn't. I don't care if you buy it. If you, it's his best work. I think. I mean, Piggy was some campy fun, but I felt like it was a little too violent. This is less violent and more it's degrading, I would say, which is sick. I think the only person that should feel degraded is Michael Thompson, and let the record show that. This is, I've gone through a lot with this lawsuit. I've spent hundreds of hours on it. It's very clear what happened. It's very, very clear. And in fact, cuts, illegal derivative content is not legal, for one. Malicious, prolonged insults, not part of YouTube's policies. Also, it is not. If Michael is trying to insinuate that I was so out, like I was never like this person. That's how Michael painted me. That's why, I related to it, because I was painted that way when none of that was actually true. I never attempted to aggrandize myself, as has been said. Maybe I'm not socially as adept as you'd like, any of you. But I certainly never lied. I never tell lies. I don't tell lies here. So I mean, I would ask you to find one, and then we could see it. There's no indication of what Tyler in this book has lied about. There's not one. It's just that he is a liar and that he's a piece of shit junkie. Basically, that's what which is, I remember what Mr. Thompson tried to say about me. Well, when Mr. Thompson's about to find out that that's not the truth, and that he misjudged a person because of his own issues. And that's a fact. But also, he committed serious crimes, and I'm not gonna I'm going to urge the court to recognize that. These are serious crimes that occurred, serious conspiracies of defamation, cyber stalking, cyber harassment. It's not the person, the victim of it, that's doing it. It's just not. There's other ways to help people than to hurt them like this. Which is the whole point of leveling up in the first place. I mean, I don't. It ends on Halloween. I mean, I thought that was unnecessary. I thought the timetable was a little bit sort of. It just didn't really add up to much. It didn't really add much to the story. I liked the character Adrian. I liked the back and forth of Adrian and Tyler. Those were fun and interesting. Because you're he's like, it's your voice. And Michael Thompson is a fucking bad dude, man. Honestly, it's really sad because, in a lot of the videos that he edited of mine, I'm talking to live streams of people that he's stirred up or helped to stir up. And it looks like I'm talking to myself, right? Which is sort of something I thought. I mean, look, you got to separate the art from the artist. I think that will be the last book of Michael Thompson's that I read, or Tyler AD, or whatever you want to call him. Even though, you know, I can't. I don't really have a spot for that type. It's egregious. It's sort of like, write something beautiful, which he does in one chapter, and then the rest is just, ugh. It's just like, God, enough disgusting imagery, like, enough. There's references to magic. There's this assumption that Tyler is assuming that there's magic when there's not. If that's based on what happened with me, look, cyber stalking and gang stalking an individual the way that Mr. Thompson did. Look, I don't care what you call it. It doesn't really matter to me. Black magic, gang stalking, cyber stalking. I don't give a fuck. It was horrible. It was caused injury. Obviously, you could even see in this book where Tyler is confused about who he thinks everyone's Adrian. Tyler thinks everyone's Adrian, and I know that that's been a theme in the harassment that I get from all you guys. I'm assuming I don't have my glasses on, so I can't quite see what you guys are saying, but it's a parallel for sure. I think that dark sick fucks might like it. I think it's, you know, I think the writing's good, but again, it's just sort of like, do you want to put yourself through this? You might not. It's gross. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. It's completely. I honestly wondered if the writer had an issue, like with shooting up methamphetamines. It sounded like he knew quite a bit about what it was like to be up for 4 days, see shadow people. I mean, it was very vivid. I don't. I don't think I've really stayed up for longer than 2 days in any type of bender or anything. I've never been up for 4 days. I don't, the shadow people thing. I mean, when you're tired, do you sometimes see things out of the corner of your eye? I think, yeah. But I think shadow people is indicative of like a hallucination. I mean, I think there might be a difference. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care whether this book sells 1 million copies or whether it sells no copies. That does not bear on my opinion of its quality. I think it's good. I mean, it's unfortunate that the writer is such a troubled person because he could be writing really good books, and instead of books that are just so like it's just tiresome. It's like enough already. Stop. Like it's like it felt like I was talking to Michael, and he was it was just him trying to explain how everything that happened was my fault and none of it was his fault, which is you can argue that in court if you'd like. He can argue that in court. That's his prerogative, but it's not true. It's absolutely not true. I know that it's not true, and there's plenty of evidence to suggest that. Personally, I hope that I hope that this karmic relationship is resolved. Michael. Yeah, I don't need him in my field anymore. I really don't. I don't derive anything else from it. And I could tell with this book, I could tell that there was like, I don't need to really continue learning more about this person's perspective. It's very redundant, very non-inquisitive, very accusational and aggressive, and which doesn't allow for much inquiry or philosophy. But it does, it does present a lot of interesting ideas. It might be worth checking out. It's not terribly long, 200 pages, 210, I think. But at the end, I was like, all right, enough, please. The last scene takes too long, I think, and then there's an epilogue, which is nice and short, good. Which wonder about the epilogue, whether it's another. I don't. I mean, like you build yourself a reputation. I guess the book is kind of argues that, doesn't it? But I'll say that when you take someone's content from their live stream and you repost it with a bunch of titles that you wrote that don't reflect what's being said or any truth about the person, that's not their words. That's your fucking. Those are your edits. Those are your thoughts. Those are your ideas. You're presenting what you want to be presented, which is why we have copyright law, and because you're not allowed to just deny a copyright holder the right to assert their work the way and this is my work. Me speaking to you right now is my work. I read novels a lot. I write a lot. This is not like everything I say, every song I play is the result of years of work and development, and it's not going to just be taken from me. I mean, I'm not going to just sit back while it is. And I guess that's it. That's all I really have to say about it. It was cheap. The other ones were expensive because they were hard. I got the hardcovers, which I shouldn't have on In Too Deep. Not Piggy is a nice hardcover. I think that it's a. These are. I think the whatever publisher he uses, Arcadian Press. I think that's his, but it's Lulu or whatever does a good job. And I think he probably had to format it to some degree, which he does fairly well. I didn't really like the subtitles for the chapters. I didn't think they were necessary, or the dates. I really could have done without the dates. The Halloween things are like, it didn't really, to me. It didn't really. I don't know. It just. I did not find it. I just didn't find it integral to the plot at all. Like it just was like, it's Halloween. I mean, it just didn't really okay. It didn't really help the narrative or the book at all. And neither did the subtitles. The subtitles are bad on the chapters, but that's that's a minor thing, I guess. Like I said, there's moments of apology, but then it goes back to this narcissistic maliciousness that's so fast, and then it's so much that you're kind of like, I'm not going to be played by this. Like, I'm not going to I'm not going to let this person just sort of pretend that the narrator, now not like the narrative, or rather the narrative, not the narrator, which is Tyler, but the narrative is malicious, is cruel, demeaning, and you really have to kind of decide whether you trust it or not. I don't. I actually I find it ridiculous. It's probably it could. I found myself also thinking this could be autofiction, that this could be actually Tyler AD's Michael Thompson's experience. I think a lot of it probably was. A lot of that's my guess. I know that I've heard. I don't want to really get into anything else about that, but it definitely did not speak to my experience really at any point, other than there's indications, I guess, but I didn't personally feel if in fact this is me, this character, which is named Tyler Dershowitz, which is Michael Thompson's alias. If in fact that's me, which would make sense because you think everyone's Michael. I've never heard anyone say that. It really doesn't. It doesn't capture what any of the truth of my experience, and that's true. It doesn't. It doesn't capture what happened. It doesn't capture the habits, the thought process. It doesn't. It's just kind of cruel and evil. Read at your own peril, I guess. Let's see this bullshit here. I don't know who this is. Off school? Who is that? Oh, I looked it up. Okay. Look, the law in this case is not hard. It's really kind of sadly obvious. So I wouldn't expect a positive outcome for Michael Thompson. But that's my opinion, obviously. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So Brett called me the F slur. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'll fucking make him a moderator until he fucking makes it so that he shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't really trust very much. See, look, he actually says who he is, though. He fucking says that who he is, which is refreshing. And then like these other Sir Ice Swallow Crumb. Todd Brett saying you're okay with homicide. When did I say that? When did he say that? Or when did I say that? Or I'm not okay with homicide. Thank you, David. Let me try that. Smoking. See, I don't think I've never smoked crack, actually. I've never smoked crack. And I also don't really look to have so many friends. Like, I'm okay being by myself. I like to be by myself. I have a lot of work to do, and I enjoy my alone time. Honestly, there's gonna come a day when you fucking morons are not gonna be allowed to come in here and do this at all. Not, moderator or not, it's coming soon. I promise. It's illegal what you're doing. So I don't care who it is, because I know the only incentive to harass me would come from where? Oh, message deleted by you deleted it. Yeah, let's view it. I know when it's a troll account, but Todd did admit to doing methy things. Okay, so what? Look, they're deleting the messages. Oh my god. You're like gonna have to actually not. You're not gonna delete those messages. You're gonna actually. Oh, you did. You don't know. These are gonna be evidence, and they're gonna be seen in court, and I'm gonna print them out, and whoever these are will be. I will find out. I am not obligated to have a moderator. I can't. I'm not obligated. I can't do that. You, though, are obligated not to harass people. That's illegal. And I'm going to leave it at that. And then now we're going to be done. I'm going to do maybe 2 songs, maybe it's late. I mean, to Brett, yes, he does. He has a few books. I think if you're interested in the mindset, look, he's not terrible. He's not a terrible writer, but he's definitely sociopathic. I think, and I'm tired of it. I'm very tired of it. It's funny. I was reading it and I was like, I actually feel better about myself. I feel like, wow, like, this is like, like I actually like myself. I respect myself. And it reaffirmed that for me. I did rush through it. I wanted to finish it I have a hearing on Wednesday, and I also want to just be prepared because he gives himself away a lot if we're talking about a court case. But it is fiction, so he's entitled to license and whatnot. And you know what? I want to say even if someone's on having a meth induced psychosis, that's probably a time not to harass them. You know, just saying, like, that's probably a good time not to harass them. You know, to leave them alone at least, or say, hey, can I help you out? It's probably not like a indication that you should go harass them. You know, and this Cyrax, I'm not going to get into anymore, but what's going on YouTube is disgusting. It's illegal. They're literally, there's going to be a big comeuppance for it, because it ain't just Michael. It's a systemic thing. And look, if they want to go that route, then they better put that in their terms and service. Like, hey, we allow people to harass people here. Okay, then I know. But guess what? That's not what they put in their policies. So I didn't know. I thought that they would do something about it reasonably. And then because I thought that, I was injured, which means that they're liable under promissory estoppel. But because they demonstrated a willfulness not to abide their own policies in their handling of an affirmative defense of 230 during the federal process, which was now remanded basically or refiled in state court, is a willfulness to not abide the conduct they claim that they abide. You know, they even put it in their briefing, like, YouTube does not condone bullying. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It not only condones it, it aids and abets it. 1,000%. I can prove it just with my own fucking documentary evidence, but it's worse than you fucking think, guys. And I don't know how connected everyone is or what they're doing or why they're doing it, actually. So we talk black magic. I don't know why you're doing it. I don't care, actually. I know what you did. I don't need the motive. In civil court, you don't really need a motive. It's just about damages, bitch. Now I'm not sure that that's Brett. Actually, I mean, I don't know if he's talking to the troll or not. My psychosis. Like, look, I think everyone has moments of paranoia, but you know, I've always maintained some grip on reality to the point where, like, you know, I'm willing to hear the universe speak to me, as it were, to admit when I'm wrong. But you know, one thing I'm not admitting is that I was not injured by Michael Thompson and Gregory Holmes's activities and conduct. Very much, honestly, to the point where I lost $300,000 worth of rare books that I can't really get back. I don't know where they are, and it was very closely linked to the activities of these cretins. I mean, they are. I mean, I don't know what is wrong with either of you. I don't know what drives you, but I have no, like, I mean, I don't intend to have any sympathy. You know, I'm gonna litigate it as tough as I can. I don't, because all parties are sick, unethical, and that's it. I'd rather wait till I win, Brett. I'll FaceTime. We could talk, but no. Well, I know, Brett. I know you. I know. Look, this is. I don't know what your powers are, or but I'm only working for myself, and I can't control what you do. And I would like to talk to you more. And you have been cool to me, and I have enjoyed getting to know you, which is, it just indicates like that the victims, like they generally are in touch with their spirituality. The victims are, and that's what concerns me a little bit too. Uh, and I want to know what the fuck happened. I want to know what the fuck was going on, what the emails were, what the fucking corroborations, what the fucking conspiracy was, who was part of it, who was doing it, who was working on it, who was helping it, where were the fake names, what was going on, what messages, how many messages were directed at me by these two people alone. Then who else? Who helped? Everyone is fair game, especially if you're related to Michael Thompson's group. Everyone. And don't think that the UK makes you that hard to litigate. It don't. And I could find a way anyways. Who's that, bro? Yeah, Lucy Purr. I mean, give me a break. What the fuck? Is that not an obvious reference to the devil? Sick fucks. Sick fucks. I mean, come on. It's like you're not even hiding your ridiculousness. I don't care what the intent is. I don't care if you're using black magic or not, or whatever you want to call it. It's wrong. And it makes sense that somebody might be paranoid. And I don't actually think I would ever take an apology from Mr. Thompson, not in this lifetime. It just wouldn't. And I would say that to Brett if he's still there. I would never, ever respect. I will never respect another word that comes out of that person's mouth. I will never take it seriously, ever, ever. I know anytime he says, "I'm sorry," that he is literally just waiting to like say something mean again. I know that, and I just it's I can't unsee it. And I know that there's not a lot of mercy. And I know Brett Lovan. Honestly, you say that he said I called me the F word. You know what? But when I talk to him, he's actually responds to me like a fucking human being, and he doesn't play like mind tricks on me. Okay, and he doesn't try to fuck with me. So do I give a fuck if he said that word? No, I don't actually at all. It doesn't bother me one bit. Like that's called virtue signaling. That's why people hate the left. Peace out, bro. Message me for sure. Yeah, no, I definitely am a good lawyer, a pro se litigant, as it were. I'm not a lawyer, bro. I mean, honestly, like these people say so much stuff. I don't even hate like what I don't even. I want them to understand what that. No matter how many times they say something, I'm gonna make my own decision, and I'm gonna like use my own mind and heart, and I have, and I'm not, and I don't, it's so it doesn't even matter. It matters that they know that they can't use that anymore. They can't use things like that. They can't use. It's not gonna fly. Not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. It's not going to fly anywhere. Okay. You're not going to go to court and say, "Yes, sir, Your Honor, I harassed this person because he was a homophobe, and that makes it legal." I don't think that's in the law. I read the code of civil procedure in California. I didn't see that there. I think if you like, I mean, and we're talking about a prolonged act, like over 3 years. That's there's no, you can't say I incited that, because 3 years is a long time. It's a long time. It's like bang, bang, bang. And honestly, it was obsessive, and it was a pattern of conduct. That's very, very easy to prove. But also, there's a lot of other people doing it, and they're going to be, hopefully it will put an end to it. There's a line in it where I guess I'll say, I know I keep going, but what is it? I came. Is it he came to me or I came to him, saying I can either destroy you or save you? I hope to save you, Michael. I really do. I pray for you. I pray for you. I pray for you, Greg. I pray for all the rest of you. But you need to realize the consequences of your actions. I don't see any other way for your soul to develop at all. I would be remiss as your friend and somebody who cares about people to not intensely pursue this. None of your excuses are gonna fly, by the way. None of them are legal. And I know that there's some, there definitely is some what's it called, credibility issues. Big credibility issues. Not with me though. Oh God. All right, I'm just gonna play one song and fucking. What song? Cause I am a warrior, I am a champion, I am a winner. Sometimes I lose, and I'll be the phoenix, rise up from the ashes. Sometimes this phoenix don't know what to do, and I'm like a soldier forging the battle. And it doesn't matter what lies ahead. And I'm just like Samson, slaying the lion. I'm crashing the pillars until I'm dead, knowing I don't get off easy, and it don't look easy. I get embarrassed until I'm ready, but I'll keep on taking all of my chances until the very end. Cause I am a warrior, and I am a champion, and I am a winner. But sometimes I do lose, and I'll be a phoenix rising up from the ashes. And sometimes a phoenix, he don't know what to do. And I am a teacher, and I am a student, I am a fighter. But sometimes I fall, but be the phoenix rising up from the ashes. Sometimes this phoenix, now it don't make the call. Oh, but I'm still champion. I'm still champion. You don't understand me, cause you're not understanding. And that's why I never will take your advice. So when you've been a fighter who's sick of fighting, sometimes it's better to just roll the dice. And it's never easy to know oh, and it don't get easy. Cause I am a warrior, and I am a champion, and I am a winner, but sometimes I lose. So I'll be the phoenix, rise up from the ashes, and sometimes this phoenix where he don't know what to do. And I am a teacher, and I am a student, and I am a fighter, but sometimes I fall. But I'll be a phoenix rising up from the ashes. And sometimes a phoenix, no, he don't make the call. But I'm still champion. Oh, well, I'm still champion, yeah. Oh, now I'm still champion. And I'm still champion. Yeah, now I'm like a soldier forging the battle. It doesn't matter what lies ahead. Oh, and now I'm just like Samson and slaying those lions. Oh, crashing the pillars until I'm dead. And I am a warrior, and I am a champion, and I am a winner. But sometimes I lose, so and I'll be the phoenix rising up from the ashes. And sometimes a phoenix that he don't know what to do. Oh, and I am a teacher, and I am a student, and I am a fighter, but sometimes I fall. But I'll be the phoenix, rise from the ashes. But sometimes the phoenix, he don't make the call. But I'm still a champion. But I'm still a champion. But I'm still a champion. Peace. Don't even worry about it, bro.